And we are live.
Right.
JT here. Welcome to the huddle. The huddle is where I sit down with successful people from the world of sport and coaching. It's to learn more about their journey to greatness. Why do I have these conversations? Because success always leaves clues. I want to take a moment to thank you. Whether you are tuning in live as we stream into our Facebook community, whether you are watching the replay on YouTube or on Facebook, or whether you're listening to the audio on the podcast, thank you so much for being here with me and my special guest today. And here's my reminder to you. The mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's wide open. So my challenge to you is to go all in on this conversation, to remove any distractions and get laser focused on the here and the now. And I guarantee you, you will gain a valuable nugget that will not only help you succeed in sport, but more importantly, in the game of life. I've been looking forward to my conversation with my special guest today. We connected a little while ago, and there was something just about our first conversation where it was something powerful. There was, he shared a bit of his journey to greatness, and I just felt inspired to learn more. My guest in the huddle today is currently serving, has shifted into his role with MLSE. And again, really looking forward to diving deep into his lived experience. My guest in the huddle today is Arjen Colquhoun. How are you today, brother?
I'm good, JT. Thank you for having me. Everyone out there, thank you. Hello.
Arjen, before we get kicked off, pun intended, the one thing I always like to remind myself is the importance of counting your blessings. And I'm a firm believer that the biggest blessing you can give anyone is your time and energy. And I like to remind myself of that. And it's one of those things where some days I do a better job than others of counting my blessings. But I just want to thank you again for giving me and our community some of your time and energy today. So thank you, brother.
No worries, no worries.
Okay. So let's get started here. So one of the reminders that I often like to, just jog my memory and remind other people is that life is a game and games are supposed to be fun. So I'm curious from your experience, Arjen, what is an interesting fact? I had a coaching colleague said that we all have our, quirks. We all have these things that make us unique and different. What's an interesting fact about you that maybe a lot of people don't know about you that you'd be open to sharing with our community?
I'm like, as far as like just me, myself, what's a fact about me? I'm a huge dog lover. So I have 2 dogs of my own that are 5 years old. I actually bred my dogs and I had another dog. So I actually have 3 in the house right now. And if I could have a dream job, it would to be a professional dog breeder. So a lot of people don't know that about me, but that would be a fun fact for sure.
Okay, that would explain. I know when we got connected, I did see some pictures of beautiful looking dogs. So that kind of helps me make sense of it. So I'm curious, what is it about dogs that like really brings your heart joy?
They're just, they're so innocent. They're so loving. They love unconditionally, and they know when you're sad. They know when you're happy, So I feel like with a dog, I know they can't talk to you. Here, you can hear them barking right now. But with a dog, there's no communication. You can't talk to a dog, but I do feel like a dog really understands you, and you can talk to a dog. So I don't know. I feel like that's just a deeper connection than you can have with people. So I truly just love nature. I love animals. I love taking my dogs on walks, and I just love that connection I feel with earth and with animals, and yeah, that's really why I love dogs.
It's interesting, and you share that, and everything I've learned about dogs is they can sense energy, right? Like they have a great sense of, like you said, how you're feeling, right? They're really great at feeling your energy. So it's interesting that they sort of have this amazing ability to like unconditionally love you, right? And just be there for you. So I love that. Okay. So I'm curious, sport has obviously played an important role for you in your life, Arjen. First you were a high quality athlete, right? Like you played at a high level, you grew up in, Windsor, Essex, and then transitioned to Michigan State, had spent some time in the NFL, the CFL, and now you've transitioned into a different journey of your life. So I'm curious, what has been the one lesson that you feel had probably resonates with you the most that you've taken away from sport?
Well, just to give everyone a background story a little bit, I broke my ankle in 2021 against the Montreal Alouettes sometime in November. So actually, probably right around this time. I think it was a couple of days after my birthday. So it's been about a year anniversary since my injury. And I kind of transitioned into a role with MLSE working as an account executive. So to answer your question, what I take away from sports and just football in general is just what you put in, you will get out. Like I'm a true believer in hard work pays off. So there's no easy way around it. There's no paved road. You always have to take the road that's unpaved. It might even go up like this at an incline. It might even be like this at some times. But I think honestly, just sticking to the path, sticking to the course, and putting in your work, putting in the time, it always pays off.
I love that. And what I really heard from you again was this law of cause and effect. Like what you're willing to put in reps and sets wise always translates onto the field, into the weight room, things like that. So I'm curious, right? Someone may look at you and go, okay, here's Arjen, it's always been easy for him. He got to Michigan State, he got to the Dallas Cowboys, he got to the CFL. I'm curious, has it been an easy path to get there?
No, never. Like for someone on the outside, they might say, oh, he's had an easy path. Oh, he's went there, he's done that. But you guys, like, there's always internal battles, right? We're always fighting our own battles with our mind and our self-talk and how we talk to ourselves. So when I think about in high school, like, I'm thinking about what school am I going to go to? There's all these schools. I don't want to pick the wrong school. What if I go to a school and they don't want me? So, you have all these different negative thoughts in your head that are running. You don't know what's going on. So I'd say picking a school is probably one of the hardest decisions ever. And I think it stresses a lot of college kids out. I think it's kind of it's glamorized now, but at the same time, it's a really, really, really stressful situation because the next, whatever school you do choose or whatever path you do choose, it's going to decide your next 5 years of your life and ultimately, the rest of your life. So in that sense, I would say that was a hard decision. In college, I didn't really start playing until my third and fourth year when I was at Michigan State. So in my head internally, I'm like, I'm at Michigan State. I'm never going to play. Well, why am I not good enough? Oh, the coaches don't like me. Oh, so there's all these battles that we're always going through. And people are like, oh, it's the easy road. There's never an easy road in anything that anyone is doing. It's always going to be hard. You're always going to have these internal struggles that you have to kind of get over and fight with and battle with. And I really do believe in, like I said, like just trusting the process. I ended up playing my fourth and fifth year, and it ended up working out to where I went to the NFL. Ended up having some issues and adversity with injury, which took me out of the NFL and CFL as well too. So, to me, I'd be like, man, my career wasn't as much as I wanted it to be. I feel like, oh, if I didn't get hurt, I could have had a better career doing this. But everyone always has to, it's not, you have to take the second and always look how far you came. And I feel like that's really, really important. And I think that's what I try to take away from now and just now living my life and going on and transitioning is like, man, like you've came a long way. You still have a long way to go, of course, but just taking it and just admiring it and then getting back to the trail. So I would say those there's definitely challenging things in everyone's life, and those are just some of the challenging things that I dealt with just going from high school to college to my professional career and moving forward. So If to anyone about sports, like life is always a battle, football is always a battle. I know I talk to guys now on the team and it's, oh, I'm not playing, coaches are messing with me, I'm gonna leave the team, or I want to trade. And I feel like with my experience now, I kind of go to them and I say, man, how long have you not been playing? Like, oh, you got hurt, you're coming back off injury, it's only been 2 weeks. I'm like, I just want you to take a second, take a deep breath, and just think about what you're doing, how like amazing you are doing. Like, don't think about it in the small term. Think about the long term of your career. And when I feel like when you have that perspective and you're able to tell guys and younger guys in the league the same thing, they kind of take it and they're like, you're right. Like, it's not as bad as it is. Like, it's only been 2 weeks. I shouldn't be asking for a trade. I feel like sometimes we overreact to situations that are out of our control. Mm-hmm. And all we have to do is just stay the course. So that's something that I try to take away from my experience and what I try to tell other people or other players when I talk to them.
I love what you share, and I appreciate you being so open. And what really resonated with me is that everyone, no matter what level they get to in life, there's always those sort of doubt and worry that comes up from time to time. And what I really heard from you, though, is, your ability to, we talked earlier about counting your blessings, about really reminding yourself what you're thankful for, what you're grateful for, and really how that can be a powerful tool to shift your perspective on really, like, that in the grand scheme of things, this is one moment in time. So I'm curious, gratitude, was that something that's always been a part of your life, or is that something you've just learned over, the course of your lived experience as a powerful tool to shift perspective?
I would say when I was younger, I didn't have a lot of gratitude. I'd say now, going through my athletic career and like I said, taking a look back, I'm more grateful. Mm-hmm. What I would say, it's more of just a positive energy, just always like glass is half full, not half empty type view. I know that sounds kind of cliche, but just self-affirmation of yourself, of what you're doing, what your goal is. Self-talk, like, all of us have those negative, what if I do this, what if I mess up, but what if you do good, so I always try to always flip the script and thinking that way first. I think self-talk is huge. Self-affirmation are huge, especially in kids. I feel like for a lot of kids, it's more they're talented, or someone has all the skills and the intangibles, but they're not unlocking their full potential. And I feel like it's more of a confidence thing. It's more of a self-affirmation thing. It's more of they don't believe in themselves more. And I can't believe in you. I can't believe in you more than you can believe in yourself. And that's what I try to tell my players, the kids that I train. You got to believe in yourself to be the best player out there. So I can believe that. I'm like, I tell them, I already believe that. So I really believe in that. Yeah.
It's interesting that you share that, the power of belief, right? And at the end of the day, like you said, that sort of like earned confidence. And it's interesting that, I had a great mentor and coach that sort of helped me understand this idea of like average leaders want people to think highly of them as a leader, where truly great transformational leaders help others to think highly of themselves, which, as you talked about, it's confidence, it's belief in yourself. So I'm curious, has there been a mentor or coach in your life that has really helped you develop this belief in yourself, the belief that things can and will get better?
Yes. And it's funny, I feel bad at myself right now because I'm thinking about him. His name's Paris Johnson. So he came over to Michigan State around 2015, I want to say. That's right. So I left in 2016. So he was there for 2 years with me. He was a coach at Miami, Ohio. Came over to Michigan State as an assistant DB coach. I'll probably reach out to him and probably send him this video so he knows that I'm talking about him. But man, like, I was at the school, like I said, I wasn't playing the first couple of years I was at Michigan State, and I knew it wasn't from a skill level. It wasn't from a skill level. I felt like the coaches maybe didn't trust me out there. And I talked to this guy. I kind of opened up to him one day after practice. He said, Arjen, you have all the skills. He said, they don't trust you out there because you don't believe in yourself. He said, how are they going to believe you and trust you if you don't have that mental toughness to be sturdy of yourself and who you are? So just talking to him and kind of having him as a mentor and those conversations of just like what it takes to be great. Just being like I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures now. It's an X-ray and they have a picture of a pit bull in it, and it's called what's inside your heart, and it's dog. I got dog in me. So we'd always talk about being a dog and just that dog mentality and just wanting to be better, do more, one extra rep. And I feel like through that and just through the confidence that he just exerted, like, oh man, this guy was just full of confidence. This guy, like, just the way he would tell me he goes about his job as an assistant coach is just like, I'll do more than a coach will. I'll do more than the other assistant coaches. I'll do more than the defensive coach or the special teams coach. He said, I want to prove myself in the coaching business. What do I got to do that? I got to be totally different than everyone else. And that's kind of what he instilled in me, is like, if you want to be what you want to, you have to literally have the confidence to be yourself and do as much as you can.
So it sounds like what he helped you is that common confidence that he exuded, that he embodied, that he demonstrated in everything he did. It's like it transferred and it instilled that confidence into you, which then helped you elevate your proverbial game to your next level.
1,000%, 1,000%. And just, having those conversations with somebody like that, he played in the NFL. He did it. He made his money. He did his thing. Having conversations like you said, it kind of rubs off on you, and then it's like I got to prove myself right, but not only I'm going to prove him right. I'm going to tell you, talking to someone of that excellence. So really, really do appreciate you, Coach Johnson. You're the man. Best assistant DV coach I ever had. So.
I love that. I love how you're paying homage to Coach. So I'm curious, you were mentioning, previously that, you've had some injuries along your journey, right? As when you were an athlete, and it sort of challenged you to really take on this new adventure in life. So I'm curious, that confidence that you had as a high quality athlete, because that's what allowed you to be successful. How has that, having that level of calm and confidence, how was that transferred into this next phase of your journey, sort of working through injuries and sort of now stepping into this new adventure in your life?
It's just taking, like we said, taking away everything I learned, going into this next journey and putting away football. It's bringing that passion that I really had. I think I'm doing something that I really, truly love. And I feel like that's most important. I feel like coming out of my injury, I was like, I need to do something that I'm passionate about. And it's not about the money. I didn't even know what the pay was, but I knew that I wanted to be in sports. I knew that's where my love is. And so I kind of just went all out and kind of took those same things I learned from football and just trusting the process, just working hard to my goal. Being really confident. I feel like the self-affirmation that I could take from football and in sports was, man, you have the most experience out of anyone that you're applying for this sports job for, right? I've played the position. I've been to probably more football games than a lot of people. So, just, giving myself that confidence, thinking about these things that I've done in my life already, and being like, I have just as much experience, if not skill, as the next person that wants this sales job for sports, right? I took business here and got my MBA here. It's like, oh, that's cool. I have an MBA in actual professional sports as well. So, just taking it and kind of just switching the narrative. And I feel like when you can do that and you can kind of switch the narrative, now when you go and tell your ideas, or now when you go and present yourself, you exude something different. You're exuding confidence instead of having that paradigm shift of, oh, well, I'm an athlete, this is my first sales job, I don't know what to do. Like, no, yeah. So that's how I try to do things, is just self-affirmation, taking what I learned from my experience and being like, what's positive about what I can do next, and what can I take away to move forward. So that's kind of those are just some of the things that I thought about moving forward to MLSC, and have helped me to make strides in the company, is just knowing I played the sport. Like, I know it better than anyone, and having a true deep love and passion just for the progression of football, really, in sports in Canada in general, really. So yeah.
I love that. And what I really heard there was, again, this idea of like celebrate your past, right? It's like really owning and stepping to all this lived experience, because it's made you into the strong and powerful person you are today. And then really just understanding that calm and confidence, you know, can be transferred to other areas of your life. You may not feel it at all times, but you can tap into that and you can connect that anytime. So I'm curious, you know, I think of our first conversation, right? Like, again, I love that you took courageous action and like reached out, right? And there's some energy, there's enthusiasm, there's passion there that jumped out over your message to me the first time. But you shared with me a powerful experience of what sort of drew you into, you know, MLSE, doing this work of creating this like day in the life of the Argo. I'd love to know, you know, what from your past experience made you really step into this role to want to create these experiential, these immersive experience for other young people?
Just growing the sport of football. I feel like with COVID, we kind of got hit kind of hard, and, you know, football kind of lost its way in Canada. I know a lot of programs were closing in Windsor. But that's kind of just driving football knowledge. I went to Michigan State University in the States. So, you know, over there, football is religion. It's a religion. It's almost, you know, it's faith, family, football, and sometimes not always in that order. So, just based off of that, just seeing how they operate, seeing where we could be better as a community, as an organization, as a company now, and just taking those steps. I think that's kind of what has kind of led me to like start a day in the life. I kind of think about, how do we treat recruits when we're at Michigan State? Like, how can we treat our fans in our community and reach out to them? I know Toronto is a really big city. We have a lot of things going on with concerts and Maple Leafs and Raptors. So I feel like for us in the football community, in the Argos community, it's really, really important that we reach out to the community, because I feel like we are the community team of Toronto, personally.
And what I love about it is, you know, that passion, I felt it on our first call. And, you know, one thing I even think back to our first conversation, I remember the first thing you said to me, before we even talk business, I want to know about you. And that's kind of like that really love of people, what like jumped out at me. I was like, okay, this feels different.
It's funny.
And then it was like,
JT, hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off. It's funny because when I was looking through, I saw, like, when I was going to call you, I saw that you've talked to dozens of people at MLSE. You know, they probably reach out every year to you and try to work with you. And, you know, I asked someone, I'm like, should I call him? They're like, look how many people have talked to him. Like, there's no reason to. And I was like, you know what? No. I'm like, I want it, like, and I was like, no, I want to work with him. I want to talk to him. I want to see what we can do. And I think you're right. That's one thing that really resonates with me and you, is just, I think, like, our true deep connection of like passion, and for not only for the sport of football, but I think just for people in general. And I think that's really what resonates with me and you. I think you can really learn a lot just by talking to someone, even if it's just one time. But I'm glad that we felt that connection, and I think that's really what has really just, you know, made this pop.
Yeah. Well, and I love what you share, and it just reminds me of like something a great coach told me once. It's like, fall in love with the idea of helping people. And what I really love is, like, when you truly come in with a curious mind and an open heart, people will often tell you exactly what they want, you know, maybe what's holding them back. And that's where like you can really start to move forward, right? And you can really come from that mindset of really wanting to help and serve them. And so again, it's mutual, brother. I love, again, our conversations, because that's something I definitely feel from you as well.
Yeah, I think just being a consultative, having a consultative approach to anything, coaching styles. Like even when you look in the NFL now, like you can see that it's changed from the hard no coach that yells at everyone and is like the dictator. You could see like coaches like Sean McVay, the coach of the Dolphins, I forget his name, but those guys are kind of like like stepping back, letting the team take over and letting leadership kind of go throughout the team. And I feel like that's huge, massive.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious with this, with this experience, right? Like giving people, like I often say, like, from this idea, from you taking this inspired idea, a day in the life of the Argo, what I really felt is like, you're just trying to give people, you're creating a vision of what could be. So I guess what was sort of the inspiration behind it? Like, why do you feel so called to share this idea with the world?
Well, two parts of it is just the one part, I love football. Like I said, I want to push football here, want to be a part of the community. I want the Argos to be a part of the community. And I feel like, how can I do that in reaching out and starting with high school football, and it kind of flourished into youth football as well now, with some youth football teams coming out to the camp. What can I say? It kind of, what brought it to life is, first thing, that passion. And then the second thing is just being at Michigan State and seeing how they operated that same type of carousel and getting players there. And I just want to create those pipelines and those touch points with all the teams and all the coaches, and just be a resource, really. That's what I feel like MLSC can be, and I feel like the Argos can be, is more of a resource. I don't want people to think we're just coming out to sell tickets, because we're really not. I really want people to understand that we want to help the community. We want teams to come out. And I think to do that, first thing is as an organization, I'm not speaking for the Toronto Argos, but as a rep for them, I feel like to do that, the only way to do that is to be with the village, or be with the community. I've been to a couple coaches clinics, and just asking, like I said, going back to that consultative idea of, what do we need here? Not, hey, I have this idea. It's kind of been, what would be a really cool idea? And even the coaches clinic that I went to, that kind of spurred the idea of Argos Day in the Life. I said, the coaches have such a great time coming, talking to our coaches, seeing our practices, and why, like, I'm as a player, or as a player on the team, they would love this experience. They would love to see how these guys operate, and just to meet these guys, like meet them on a friend-to-friend basis. I know I'm from Windsor. We had a couple guys in the CFL, and some of them I was friends with, and some of them I'd reach out to just talk to, and it was kind of hard building that connection. Like, I know they're busy with their life. They have families and they're training for football. So I feel like having these experiences, these are great opportunities where we can kind of put everyone in the same room or same field, and kind of still build these relationships organically.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, like you share that, again, what it sounds like is this idea of that as you climb the ladder, right? And again, you're someone who has climbed to the top of the ladder, right? It's interesting how people at the top of the ladder often want to help others climb and rise up as well. So it just really reminded me, like, it's really interesting how the more you move up in any organization or any area of life, like, people just want to help, and they just want to help get you up there, because I don't know, it feels good to help and serve another.
Oh yeah, I think it's really, that's what it comes down to. Because everyone, like, it's not, people don't expect us to give money or donate, but I'm like, we can't donate if we don't have a community working together to, create this relationship. So, in this dynamic. So I feel like once we establish that, as a Toronto community and as a football community and the Argos community, I think we're going to see a big jump and a big spike in for the love of football and just the love of sports, really.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, right? You talked about growth and, this community approach, this greater sense of family, right? Of unity, right? Like we're all kind of moving in the same direction. I'm curious, like, what would you like to see happen? Let's say you have like King Midas's touch, everything you touch turns to gold. What would you like to see this grow to?
Well, from a youth level, I would just love to see just a support and I guess like a cooperation of the youth level. And then from there, moving up, I know it's hard, like some of the difficulties or objections for high school football is just the timing for coaches. So like if I had the Midas touch, maybe working on building some type of fundraiser or foundation where we can get these coaches paid for coming out and coaching these games. Because I know football is hard, right? You got to coach during the week, coach on the weekends. As you were a high school coach, so if we could pay you guys $1,000, $2,000 here, that would be awesome. So at the high school level, I think getting the coaches more involved, having refs that can coach all these games, and just kind of getting a fund behind it and getting the schools really behind it at the high school level would be awesome. If I had to touch on like the university level, I just think having good connections and good relationships with all the high school coaches to where we're having like mixers or little like networking ideas where coaches are coming out and they're saying, oh, I have this player, we have 3 guys on our team, and kind of just working kind of like how the States does and how the high school coaches have relationships with these universities. And then from the Argos level, kind of just not overseeing it, I would say, but just having a hand in helping everyone. If from the university level, I think having coaches clinics and being able to see these university players, maybe bring them out, all the teams out. And, that's a good way of even recruiting, I guess, and getting to see these guys. If you wanted to recruit in the greater Toronto area, which we do have a lot of competitive teams. At high school level, like I said, possibly fundraisers or a gala or a dinner where we use the MLSC venue basically to host this, right? We have people from the city come out. Maybe we have Doug Ford come out. I know he was a Chaminade grad, and having guys like that come out that really do support Canadian football and high school football, and raising that money so that we can pay these coaches or can pay for equipment or can pay for refs. So and then I would say just the Argos working with the youth, getting the guys out there, getting the one day a year, maybe getting the team out to work with the younger guys and just coach them up and really just, I guess, meet them and sponsor some of these teams. And working with the diverse groups, working with different ethnic groups as well, if we had to go even a step further. And so, it's a big vision, but like, I'm telling you that it would be awesome. If I could do all that, that would be great.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you sharing your big vision with me. And hey, we've had enough conversations where, I'm like you, I'm a dreamer. Hey, you know what? Let's put a big vision out there. Let's manifest it. Let's take, let's put in the focus reps and sets. Let's make it happen. And you're doing it. It's interesting. Like what I really heard from you again is really providing a greater platform to share these experiences, to give people an opportunity just to celebrate this beautiful game. And what it really reminded me, I know you've touched on it a few times, right? Through your experience at Michigan State, for you, having that opportunity at NFL, that whenever I've gone down to a coaching clinic down the States, it very much like I've always felt this greater sense of community, of family. Like I remember seeing it at a Notre Dame clinic, and I remember like, hey, we had a coaches social in their locker room. I remember hearing an NFL coach there at the time say, hey, if you want anything, he said, hey, just email me. Like there's so much more access. It just feels like it's a very collaborative approach, where it's interesting because you would think it would be the opposite. Like everyone would be more closed, where down south, it just seems like there's more of this sharing best practices and just wanting to help each other. Has that kind of been your experience, or I'm curious on that one.
For sure. Definitely. I feel they have a sense of community. If you went and talked to the Michigan State coaches, I bet you they can name at least 5 to 6 high school coaches in the area. You know, I bet you if we did that with some of our teams, and like, you know, probably wouldn't turn out as good. So I think, yeah, you're right. I think they have a really, really, really good sense of community because they understand these are where their players are coming from. It starts locally, right? It starts locally first. And I think they have that down in the States, especially with football. They understand it starts at the local level, at the youth level, at the high school level. Having those connections is huge. And then they're religious. They're super religious too. I know we used to pray a lot, and I loved it. Like just the sense of just community and faith. Like I said, faith, family, football. Like it just goes hand in hand. And I just feel like really your football team or your coaches are really just an extension of your family.
I love what you shared, like you bring up the idea of faith, right? And it's interesting because I know you were sharing, you know, faith, you know, in a traditional sense, people think of religion, but, you know, I often like it back to, regardless of what you believe in, God, source, universe, infinite intelligence, thinking stuff, whatever it is, it's believing in something greater than yourself. And anyone that's ever been on a strong and powerful team understands that when you have people that believe in something greater than themselves, their position group, their defensive, offensive unit, their team, their program, it just feels different. You're going to push yourself harder than you would, you know, otherwise.
When teams are selfless and the purpose is higher than themselves, that's when stuff gets done. That's when you really see everyone working in tune, and they almost work in collaboration. They work as one. So definitely, I think having that sense of just higher purpose, higher thought, you just work differently. You almost don't even have to talk to someone. It's like telepathic, like we know what we're doing. Oh, like that's what happens when you really, really trust in someone, and that's faith. And like we talk about, like faith in a higher purpose, but faith in other people, trust in other people, and so that's what I mean by faith as well. Like having trust in someone else is massive.
Yeah. And it's funny that you share that. I reminded, like, even you reaching out, taking the courageous action. And I look at kind of what, you know, we're working together to do right now, like this idea of like, what if 1 + 1 = 11? And what if us coming together actually allows us to help and serve and create greater alignment all the way from the top down? Like, isn't that kind of where the beauty of life lays?
Well,
right?
JT, I appreciate you sharing a day in the life. George, shout out to George as well for sharing that. You know, it really got a lot of attention. And it's funny, that's just one of the first projects that we're kind of working on and collaborating on. And it really does get me excited for what we can really do in the future. It really does. I have some really, really good ideas this off season. And we're going to knock this one out on the 26th.
Yeah.
After that, I really do think we're going to move some mountains.
Yeah, I love it. A reminder that we're only scratching the surface of what's possible. So I'm curious, Arjen, if anyone has been intrigued by this conversation and you know, would like to know kind of more about a day of life in the Argos, or just simply wants to, you know, maybe, you know, just wants to sort of in the future wants to know about what's happening, what is the best way where people can follow you, can connect with you, just to learn more?
If they do want to learn more about a day in the life, they can follow me on Instagram, the Canuck 36. My email is also arjen.colquhoun@mlse.com. Just to give people, just to give them an idea of what it is and what we're really doing. It's just sports insight and career development. It's going to be advice for any youth, any students, any SHSM students, flag football teams, anyone really that wants to pursue sports or a sports career. It's open to the public. It's open to schools as well. We're taking anyone until Monday. And what we're doing, we're giving you a sneak peek life with the Toronto Argonauts. We're going to bring you out to practice, have some pizza. We're also going to have some panel speakers from within our company and the Toronto organizations. One of our speakers actually is Dana Beatty, our strength and conditioning coach. And she's a female, which is amazing because I don't think there's a lot of female CSL strength and conditioning coaches, and she's been awesome. Been with the team for 4 years and has done an outstanding job. We're also going to have a couple other speakers, Jason Calero, who works at MLSC and runs our community relations programs here. Has been a longtime member with the Argos since high school. So just, talking to the kids and letting them know first thing about sports and just, what we do here at the Toronto Argos, but also letting them know and kind of putting it in their head that there's more to sports than just being an athlete. We have a lot of different avenues here at MLSC and just in the world of sports. So do want to have that educational component of it because I think that's very important. I feel a lot of people, when you are an athlete and you're done playing, no one really sets you up for that conversation after that transition period that we talk about. It's not always so smooth for some people. So I think the earlier we can get out to the youth and talk about these career paths, the better. So I really appreciate you letting me use your platform to speak about it as well.
Yeah, it's all good, brother. And here's the interesting part. One of the things I remind myself during those times where maybe the doubt and worry come up, right? Those feelings of fear, is to remind myself that life is all divine timing. And I'm not sure if I shared this with you, but the interesting thing is the day in the life of the Argo is exactly the field trip experience that I wanted to provide our SHISM students. And I always thought, like, why hasn't anyone seen this? Like, I love it. So everything that you are helping to create, it's funny that it has manifested now. And although I'm not in a traditional role as an educator now, it's just really cool to seeing that idea come to fruition. And I'm just so enthused just to continue to work alongside of you and share this beautiful game, these immersive, experiences with more people. So thank you for that.
Appreciate that. Honestly, I think moving forward, this is just the first one. It's the inaugural one. Yeah. But we hope to have legacy events like this and hope to push events like this throughout the company in different verticals as well. Yeah. So we're super excited to do this. So Thank you, JT.
Yeah, no worries. And I'll be happy to share all of your different handles on social, your email in the description, either on the podcast or on the video and in the Facebook community. So thank you for that. Arjen, I really want to take a moment to acknowledge you. I want to acknowledge you for the great man you are, the great son, just the great servant-based leader that you are. The one thing that I've really got from this is what an amazing human being you are. And I'm really inspired by just your vision to create more alignment, like your commitment to just creating these immersive experiential experiences to show people what's possible of what could be. To think in possibility is a gift. And I just really, again, want to thank you for sharing your gift with me and being open to working together so we can bring it to more people and bless more people. So thank you, brother.
Thank you, JT. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you, man. I really do. I feel like I've known you my whole life, man. and I really do appreciate everything you're doing and look forward to what we can do in the community. For everyone out there, if you are listening, you can always reach out to me and JT if you do want to get involved, volunteer. We'd love to have you.
Definitely. So folks, Arjen dropped so many valuable nuggets of wisdom that will not only help you succeed in sport, but more importantly, in the game of life. But as I remind you every week in the huddle, knowledge is potential power. It's the consistent and focused application of great knowledge that actually creates great results. So I challenge you to take one of these valuable nuggets of wisdom and go apply it to your life today. And as I remind you every week in the huddle, you are deserving of greatness. You are worthy of greatness. You are greatness. And my only ask from these conversations is, if it touched your heart, if this resonated with you, then please share this conversation with a friend, a loved one, a teammate, someone in your life that you feel needs to hear this. And the more people we have understanding and applying these simple ideas to their life, the brighter this world will be. As always, I love having these conversations in the huddle. Have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll chat with you next time in the huddle.